How to Kill an Archon. August 23, 2019 by Anna von Reitz. Sometimes I wonder, seriously, if we as a species are too stupid to live? This morning I woke up to the news that the banks are $220 trillion in debt as a result of derivatives, basically false names and false titles that have been used to defraud people all over the world, with malice aforethought, by 8 conspiring central banks and a handful of securities brokerages and holding companies. Ha! I snorted into my morning coffee, much as my father used to do when something startling came to the surface early in the day. Is that all? I thought. And then I thought, well, what to hell? The idiots just gave Prince Philip $950 trillion in life force value annuities, all owed to innocent Americans and Canadians. By the way, go shake his pockets loose and poof. That derivative problem just goes away, and then some. Then I brooded on the topic of so-called water shortages that we are experiencing as a result of the US Navy and NATO allies doing unlawful and illegal weather warfare testing on non-domestic populations in flagrant violation of the United Nations ENMOD treaties. Their shtick selling you oil as a precious commodity is at an end, so they have cast around and found something even more precious that they can limit by manipulating the jet stream and causing a fake drought, water, which, unlike oil, you need to live. Just ask yourselves, how is it possible to have 85% humidity and no rain for weeks at a time? And how much could the bastards extort, if they corner the market on water? Geoengineering. Weather modification technology. All those chemtrails were establishing field antenna structures to bounce other radiation off of, similar to the Japanese pixel paint that allows them to paint a wall and make it into a TV screen 40 feet long and 18 feet high. Using this technology they can keep water vapor suspended in the atmosphere indefinitely, while using other technology to be able to download copious amounts of this atmospheric water for themselves. They can also use other technology to redirect the natural jet streams, rivers of water vapor in the atmosphere, and cause them to dump their payloads of water into the oceans instead of letting them rain on the land. Hence the sudden threat of a centuries-long drought and sky-high water prices. How about this? We all wise up and recognize a few things. What is an Archon? Basically, an Archon is an extraterrestrial bad idea that assumes a physical form. These things are the embodiment of greed. The ultimate useless eaters. All they know how to do is consume, consume, consume. And all they know how to do in order to consume is to cheat, and lie, and steal. Because these things are not, strictly speaking, alive, they are somewhat hard to kill. It has to be done underwater, with an infrared laser through the eye sockets. If you don't do it right the first time, they come back, sort of like warts or ingrown toenails, and continue to cause trouble. Another thing about Archons is that they are, relatively speaking, physically weak and quite cowardly on average. That's part of the reason that they constantly hide behind proxies, proxy governments, proxy banks, proxies. Their entire modus operandi is to work through others to achieve their ends, so as to protect themselves, and to hide their identities, and to give themselves plausible deniability when the shipping high in transit comes down. So they pretend to be Catholics, but aren't Catholics. They pretend to be Jews, but aren't Jews. They pretend to Muslims, but aren't Muslims, either. So never blame the people like Donald Trump or even Queen Elizabeth or Pope Francis. That's like blaming an evil sock puppet. No, you have to think harder and look longer, and suddenly you will start to see the actual shape and nature of the beasts. It's easy to target their nerve centers: New York, inner city of London, Rome, Luxembourg, Washington, D.C., Prague, Hong Kong, New Delhi, but not so easy to identify them. Howbeit, we have done so. We know exactly who they are and where they live, how they came to be here, all of it. And the information has already been distributed to millions of interested parties, here and throughout the galaxy, complete with a How to Recognize an Archon guide that shows the DNA markers of bodies they are known to use. So it won't be such an easy business for them to externally manipulate things any longer. Our attitude is, if they won't go peaceably, well, there are other means of getting rid of the plague. In view of their tampering with the biosphere and in particular, their attempt to corner the market on water, and in full view of their actions deliberately causing severe drought conditions as part of their build-up scheme, we are ready to evict them forcibly and permanently. Someone should inform the United Nations that they are being used as a storefront the same way the Roman Catholic Church has been used, and that the ENMOD treaties are being violated with impunity by these vermin, but this time, it won't be me who carries the bad news to the Galactic Council and the UN Inspector General. I have other things to do.